welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Holly and this is my booktube channel. I talk about all things books, all things reading, and I make sure to inject a little coffee in there every now and then. I happen to be drinking Maud's coffee, M-A-U-D. It's a new coffee for me. My mother-in-law gave it to me and it's really good. I like it. I think it's called like the number 6 coffee. I think they're all numbered and they're different roasts. It's good. It's caffeinated. I'm happy. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of my most anticipated releases for 2023, specifically in the months January through June. I'll probably get to some anticipated releases for the latter half of the year, but these are just the ones that are on my radar for the first part of the year and ones that I'm excited to see released and get my hands on. So with that, let's jump into it. By the way, I've got an interesting lighting setup today. Normally, I just sit here in front of my big front window anytime before noon and use the natural lighting, and it works fantastic and looks really good, but it's closer to like 2 or 3, I think, and we are working with some artificial lighting. So probably looks a little funny. I'm still learning all this whole YouTube camera setup thing, but we're gonna get there and we're gonna perfect it eventually. And one day I'll get to look back at some of these first videos and cringe. Although I am thinking of getting like one of those little, t-shirt mics, because I think sometimes my voice gets drowned out by background noise and dog noise. You probably just heard them running through here. You can hear their nails on the hardwood floor. I'd like to be able to drown that stuff out, but like I said, we'll get there. In the meantime, I just like putting out content for y'all. So we're gonna do the best we can and roll with it. The first book I'm excited to see get released in 2023 is actually coming out tomorrow, January 3rd. It is called The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. I don't know a ton about this book, but I saw Danielle's books talking about it on her channel and I thought, oh yeah, I've got to add that one to my list too. Essentially what I understand about it is that it's inspired by Fleetwood Mac and the Manson murders, and there's like this, obviously a villa, and I think there was something that happened in the summer of 1974. I believe someone was murdered. My understanding is that we are following Emily and Chess, and they are 2 friends that go to stay at this villa where all of this crazy stuff happened back in 1974. And I think they're going to spend the summer there, I believe. It also sounds like Emily, once they're there at this villa in Italy, she starts experiencing some strange things and starts uncovering secrets, and her relationship with Chess is kind of strained. And the synopsis of the book alludes to the fact that there might be another murder before the summer ends. So that's all I really know about it, but it sounds excellent. I love a good murder mystery. I love a good thriller. So this sounds right up my alley, and that is getting released tomorrow. I need to, go buy it or put it on my Amazon list, something. I need to get on it. The next book that I am anticipating this year is called Locust Lane by Stephen Amidon. This is actually set in Massachusetts, and apparently it's in kind of like a wealthy, upstanding neighborhood, and a woman is murdered. And this doesn't typically happen in this neighborhood. This is a very safe, very wealthy, quiet neighborhood where things like this just don't happen. And apparently there were 3 teenagers partying with her that night, and they are all suspects. My understanding is that we're following all 3 of them in this story while they're being investigated for this woman's murder. So that just sounds intriguing. I'm here for it. Can't wait for that one to get released. That is Locust Lane by Stephen Amidon. This next book is also being released January 17th and is by one of my favorite authors, Grady Hendrix, How to Sell a Haunted House. This starts off with 2 siblings who are estranged, they don't get along, they're vastly different people, and their parents have just died. And I believe that they have just died of COVID, which, if that's kind of a trigger for you, or you're just sick of hearing about the pandemic, maybe this isn't the book for you. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna feel about it, but being that it's Grady Hendrix, I'm willing to give it a shot and see how it goes. But anyway, these siblings are estranged and their parents have just tragically died of the virus. And with the economy and everything else, they're basically broke. And they find out that the only thing they really have as an asset is their childhood home that their parents left to them. So my understanding is that they have to meet up and take care of this house, and it's basically their one possession in this world. And I guess that's when things start to go awry. Being that it's called How to Sell a Haunted House, I would imagine we're gonna see some paranormal elements before too long. So I am excited to read How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, coming out January 17th. This next book is one I am so pumped about. It comes out May 16th, I believe, and that is Only the Dead by Jack Carr. Jack Carr is one of my favorite authors, and this book is actually book 6 in his Terminal List series. I'm about to start book 4 this month, so I have to get through book 4 and book 5 before I can read book 6. So I have to hustle before May 16th when it comes out so that I can read it. Jack Carr is, as an author, in real life, he was a Navy SEAL, and so a lot of his books are very centered around military, and the main character, James Reese, was former military. And it's hard to talk about this book without spoiling it, because number 6 is obviously that, number 6, and if I talk too much about it, it spoils all the ones ahead of it. But if you're interested in kind of adventure, action, thriller, military elements, government conspiracy elements, these are excellent books. And if you're kind of a gearhead and you love, just equipment and gear and guns and knives and backpacks and outdoorsy equipment like I do, you'll probably love this, because Jack Carr is also a gear geek and he inserts a lot of his favorite things, and he's also an avid coffee drinker. So we have that in common. He's a great human, super cool. He's got an awesome podcast. He is extremely well read and a fantastic published author. So if you can't tell by my excitement, I cannot wait for Only the Dead by Jack Carr, being released May 16th. This next book is by another one of my favorite authors, Riley Sager. He is coming out with his next book called The Only One Left, June 20th. And this book, I believe, is actually based on the real-life Lizzie Borden murders. I believe there's this main character, and she is hired to take care of a woman who basically committed the same type of massacre decades earlier. I don't know a whole lot other than that, but that sounds fascinating. I mean, can you imagine if you're a caregiver and your job is to care for some elderly woman, and you know that she massacred a bunch of people decades earlier, which kind of makes me wonder, was she just accused of it, or did she actually do it? Because if she actually did it, she'd be in prison, right? God, I hope so. So maybe she was just accused of it. I don't know, but I'm still excited for it. Riley Sager's books are always a good time, always fast-paced and fun thrillers, and this one sounds excellent. So I'm excited for The Only One Left by Riley Sager, coming out June 20th. Well, that wraps up my most anticipated releases of 2023, specifically from January to June. There are, I'm sure, so many more being released, and I'll probably pick up many of them, but these are just some of my top anticipated releases that are on my radar that I cannot wait to buy and read in the new year. So let me know what some of your anticipated releases are. What's on your to-be-read list for this year? What are you excited about coming out? And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.